Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Standout Summer Balayage with L'Oreal Professional and Brand Ambassador Adina Pignatare. My name is Carrie Lane Gutierrez, and I am the Regional Educator for L'Oreal Professional in Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. And we're so excited that you're able to join us for this online signature education that L'Oreal Professional has to offer. Now, today we have a special treat with Brand Ambassador for L'Oreal Professional, Adina Pignatare.
Hey
Hi,
guys!
Adina. How are you today?
I'm doing so good and I'm super excited for today. It's going to be a blast. Thank
Great.
you for introducing me. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself before we get started. I've been doing hair for about 14 years now. I've been at the same salon this whole entire time. I started as an assistant and I never left because when you know you have it good, you don't want to leave a really good place, right? So before we talk about hair, I want to tell you a little bit about myself personally. I am dyslexic. So if you hear anything today that you're like, what did she just say? I'm no longer embarrassed by it. I feel like it makes me more creative. So feel free to shoot out any questions or, if that didn't sound exactly right, please ask me. When it comes to social media, about 4 years ago, I had a huge opportunity sent to me. It was a DM from Pureology. Pureology sent me a message and they said, we want to take you to a VIP event. I thought it was fake. My mom told me, don't go, they're going to steal you. Like, absolutely not. Don't go to the New York City, the Big Apple. So I did what I do best. And I didn't listen to my mother. I got in that car. They chauffeured me all the way from my house in Westfield, Massachusetts to New York City. And I had the best weekend with these people. I learned that there's so much more than just standing behind our chair. I learned what layouts were, how to make content. And I realized that like these events I wanted more of. So when I came back after that 3-day weekend, I started taking my social media so much more seriously. I started posting more, trying to be different. At one point I was doing like Christmas hair just to stand out. So what I'm using today is my favorites from L'Oreal. And sorry, it's so funny to talk to a screen. So what I'm doing today is my Standout Summer Balayage. And my Standout Summer Balayage is going to be showing you how to cut down the time in half to get like the right amount of dimension and saturation in a quick amount of time. I also want to give her something that's going to transition very nicely into fall. Something that will stand out in the summer, but also look really good during the fall and early winter months. So what I'm using today is some of my favorites from L'Oreal. Of course, we're using Metal Detox, and Carrie Lane is going to go really into like the technical stuff when it comes to Blonde Studio 9 and Dialite. But let's talk about Metal Detox. Metal Detox to me is much more than just this product. Metal Detox is actually the reason why, not the reason, but one of the reasons that got me on L'Oreal's map. They sent me this product, I used it, and I was like, holy smokes, this is amazing. I saw a huge difference. If you live in an area that you have well water or hard water, you need this product. It is the best pre-treatment ever, and it doesn't cut your time down in half, or it doesn't cut your time down in half. It doesn't give you more time. Like you don't have to put it on and leave it on for 45 minutes and then rinse it out and do all that. All you have to do is mist it on the hair, and it's going to give you, it's going to neutralize all the metals in the hair. It's going to be 87% less damage. So what you do is you're just going to mist it on. I'm going to demonstrate for you, but you're going to mist it on the hair. After you're done misting, you apply your color. Go in the back, let it dry for a second, and go mix your color. Come on out, apply your balayage or your any sort of lightening treatment, and you're going to use the shampoo and the conditioner. The shampoo is going to rinse out the metals in the hair, and then the mask controls the pH level, so it's going to feel really good when you're using both. Okay. So Carrie Lane is going to talk more about the Blonde Studio 9 for me. She is my right-hand woman today.
Yeah, I am so excited to be here with you, Adina. And guys, I forgot to tell you, if you guys check the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A area. If you guys have questions, make sure you put them in there so that I can, while Adina's doing her demo, or if you have questions about any of these products, put them in the Q&A so that I can address them and let Adina know that they're there. I'm so excited that you guys are all here. And then And again, put your questions in the Q&A. That's where I'll be taking all the questions from. So let's talk about Blonde Studio 9. Blonde Studio 9 is our top of the line, 9 levels of lift. Oil in the powder, oil in the developer. We have a regular and we have our new, just launched a month ago, Blonde Studio 9 with bonder inside. You can get up to 9 levels of lift with, yes, just 30 volume. You do have to use the two dedicated developers, 20 and 30 volume. 20 volume can be used on the scalp, but you can also use it in an enclosed technique or open air, whichever way that you want to, and then open air and enclosed for 30 volume. You leave it on for up to 50 minutes, 50, and then mixing ratios are anywhere from 1:1 to 1:3. It's whatever you like and the end results that you come up with. So I love this with dark hair. I love this with double processed blondes. It is an amazing product. And we're going to see today, also because it's oil and different from other 9-level lighteners out there, we're the only one with a bonder inside. And because the oils, you get extra conditioning and you don't get that raw look to it in the end. You actually end up with a lot of shine and condition from it. And then also another option for the technique that Adina will be showing you today is our Blonde Studio Clay 7. So Clay 7, it is your standard clay lightener. It does encapsulate. The key to this is that it's 19% clay. So that gives it precise painting, and the consistency is like amaze balls. Let me tell you, I really love this for open air balayage techniques, traditional French balayage techniques. Mixing ratio is 1:2 to 1 to, or 1 to 1.5 up to 1:3. And the timing can be up to 50 minutes. And gosh, what else can I say about these two products? Are my go-to for balayage, mostly because of the consistency and the way that it adheres to where I want to place it. Adina, tell us what you like about Blonde Studio 7.
I love Blonde Studio 7 for any of my clients that are really like a level 7 and above, because I feel like it is super gentle. My ratio that I really like is 1 scoop to 2 ounces of developer. It gives me the right amount of consistency in my bowl. So level 7 and up, I try to go to Blonde Studio 7. What I like about it is that it feels thick in the bowl, but when you start applying it on the hair, it melts like butter. It really is, like, it's so smooth. It feels a little bit stiff, but when you get it on the hair, it really does smooth out. It's one of my favorite lighteners. It's definitely one of my go-tos. But today we're going to focus on our favorite Blonde Studio 9 with bonder inside. So I'm using it with 30 volume, and my Blonde Studio 9 with bonder inside, I am doing 1 scoop to 1.5 ounces of developer. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I have her in 2 sections. Or not 2 sections. So anything from the ears forward, I'm going to section out. Okay. But we all can agree when you're in the salon, you barely can find 1 clip, right? I'm always like stealing my coworkers. Actually, my coworkers right over here assisting me today. I always steal her clips, can never find enough. And then she steals them back. So we're lucky if we have 1. So I'm going to try to keep it as real as possible for you guys today, because that's what I am. I love my social media. I love posting all hot tips and tricks, but I want to keep it real. So ears forward, I clip that out of the way, or I just push it out of the way. Also, right behind your ears here, I'm going to do 2 pretty large scoops. Do you guys ever have clients that will come in and grab the hair from behind their ear and go, oh my God, it's black? I feel like the underneath is just so dark. These 2 scoops are exactly what you want to do, because it's going to hang right around their face here. And I feel like it's really important for this to be a little bit lighter, because it's going to really stand out right around their face. So another thing about standout balayage, knowing your placement. So right here, I have 2 big scoops right behind her ear. We're going to paint the outside of it. So when she pulls it up, she has a nice dimensional look. But also when it lays down, it's going to go right around her face and around her like neck, ear area. It's going to look really, really good. Who's ready to get started? I am.
Adina, we have a quick question that I want to answer about technology.
Yes,
Yes. Show us your metal detox. It is a metal detox question. Remember, guys, in the
fabulous.
Q&A section, please put it there so that I can make sure we get all of your questions answered. In the chat, it just scrolls way fast and we can't go back and read it. So if you have a question, make sure you put it there. So Adina, show us how you spray in the metal detox.
So I'm doing pretty large sections up the back. I'm taking my metal detox and I'm going and I'm just gonna go ahead and mist it on. I'm not super close, I'm far back. This spray really goes a long way. So that's another thing, when you're using really good products like L'Oreal's, you don't need a lot to go a long way because it's a well-made product. Once I'm done spraying it, I'm gonna take a brush, run it through. Notice how her hair is not soaking wet. I just misted her hair. If you're using a big question that I always get is the hair always feels stiff, and it's like because you use too much. When it's a quality product, you don't need a lot of it to have it work. So just misting it on dry hair.
And then the question, Adina, I'll answer is from Abigail says, how exactly does the metal detox detoxify? I'm thinking it oxidizes the metal from the hair so the color doesn't do it. Actually, what happens is when developer, metal detox can be used with any color line. And so when developer touches the metals that are in the hair that come from our water, some states like the copper and silver state of Arizona and Nevada have a lot of well water where the metals are already present as well. But when developer touches those metals, it causes a micro explosion. So what happens as Adina sprays this in, the product is going in and encapsulating those metals. So when the developer touches, we're preventing those micro explosions from happening. And like Adina said, then the shampoo is attracted to those encapsulated metals and it pulls them out. And you will look and feel the difference once you do step 2. I also have a question if other bonders can be used. We are using Bond Studio 9 with Bonder inside. We did test it with our Bond Studio 9 with Bonder inside and Multi-Techniques 8 with Bonder inside. However, we haven't tested with those other brands, and eventually you're going to stop using those because those are Band-Aid. Metal detox is a solution. If you don't break the bonds, we don't need anything to connect them back together.
You are right. If you are an avid user, you're obsessed with it. You can still use them, right, Carrie Lee?
Yes, of course. Again, we haven't tested them, so we can't say that yes, you can use them. The only ones we did test is with our L'Oreal Professional Lighteners with Bonder inside.
Fabulous. All right, so these two sections right behind your ear, there's 2 big scoops right there, okay? This is gonna sit right around her neck. This is a game changer. This is also gonna help you move a lot faster because think about it, I just took almost 90% from her crown down in one section. So always taking my comb through the section first because I don't wanna balayage in any tangles because, I mean, let's be real, that wouldn't look that good. So I'm always gonna hold it nice and tight. I'm gonna keep my brush flat, but you're gonna notice this pinch never moves until I'm fully satisfied with what I see above, okay? So holding that nice and tight, my brush is gonna stay flat on its side and we're going to go ahead and start painting. We're gonna do a few highest points of blonde and leaving a little bit of depth in between the high points. That way it looks super natural and it doesn't look like a sheet of blonde when she pulls her hair up. And I don't know about you guys, but I love natural dimensional hair. I love real looking hair. I like creating like what I think the sun would have created. Sometimes I take the rat tail of my comb. If there's a hair that's going like a crosshair, if you will, just to get it out of the way. So notice I re-dipped again. I'm reapplying on top of this balayage section. It's because I need it to be super saturated. You should never see the hair between the lightener at all. If you do, that means it's not saturated enough and you're not gonna get the right amount of lift. You might get some splotchiness, which no one wants. So I think that's a big common mistake that I see people do is that they do not saturate enough on their section. Another thing is I don't ever use a board. I use the back of my hand during my balayage. And the reason being is when I did use a board at one point is I felt like if the hair went off the edge of the board really quick, it's going to create a mark from that board. And I would do this flawless balayage and I'd go, why is there these hard marks random places? The second I stopped using the board and I used my hand, I saw a huge difference. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to saturate the back of my hand, not here, because this is a big thing at my on my hands-on classes. People saturate here, it doesn't work. It's the back of your hand, okay? And you flip it and put it on, okay? You're only going to put on just the tips and saturate. When you saturate both sides of the hair, that is going to be the most poppy blonde, okay? So I don't saturate every single section on the tips because again, I'm always trying to create a more natural vibe. So now that this is saturated, I am gonna blend out the backside. And blending out the backside is super important. So that way there's no hard marks again. So bringing that up just a little bit. And we're gonna drop it low this way. Perfect.
I love how you're showing how to be really gentle with it. You take all that time. We don't just want to let it flop down, guys. And that was a beautiful lay for sure. And Adina, I forgot to also talk about this. Can I really quickly, before you do your next side, Adina, while her model is processing, she's got a special surprise for you guys. She is going to take 5 people that put their Instagram handle in the chat, and we're gonna go through and look at them, and she is gonna go through and help you with your Instagram. So start populating your Instagram accounts. We're gonna look at professional accounts, and while her model is processing, you may be one of the lucky 5.
Yes, drop your handles. I was supposed to say that in my introduction, but I got nervous.
That's all right. That's what we're here for, because I also forgot the Q&A. Again, guys, I see a lot of things flashing by really quick in the chat. I feel like some of them are questions. I really need you to use the Q&A section at the bottom of your panel.
Hold the camera, but put it in a better spot for us. Thank you. Perfect. So again, going a couple of highest points of blonde right on the outside of this section. For anyone that might be just tuning in or didn't hear me the first time, this section is going to be that area that your clients pull from behind their ear and go, oh my gosh, it's so dark. I need this to be lighter. Also, this is a great solution for anyone that, you know, the 1,000 foil march, that this will take over such a huge section and you won't have to put 5,000 foils. This is just one area. And it really does such a huge difference. Don't get obsessed if it doesn't match the other side. No one cares. And no one's going to notice as long as it's blonde when she pulls her hair up. Okay.
And I also think, like, at L'Oreal Professional, we also like to say sisters and not twins, right?
Okay.
You don't want it to be perfect. And that's the beauty of hand-painted balayage. It is a very artistic view. So I love that you point that out.
Yes. I also think, like, everyone needs to just be creative and have some fun. Nothing needs to be exact. It doesn't need to have 3 foils on one side and 3 foils on the other. No one cares. And no one's going to know. So now that this is saturated, I'm going to flip that back over. Saturate it. Blend out that backside so it's super blendy. I don't want any hard lines. Nice and carefully, I'm going to use my hand. Yes, I don't have a glove, so if there's any glove police on here, don't get upset with me. I'll be fine. And I'm going to place another piece of plastic. I think they can see me over here. Yeah, so if everybody has a hard time with plastic, what I like to do is I take the plastic, I put it right up on my chest, cut it from the bottom, and then I pick it up from the bottom here, okay? And then I place it on my balayage section. Just like that. Fold it where I need to be, and that way I'm not a hot mess. Okay. So I do like to start my balayages in the back, especially if you're newer. You should definitely consider doing this, because if this lifts too fast, all we have to do is bring her to a sink and rinse it out just the back. So it saves you just in case, because if you started in the front, what are you going to do? If the front is ready and the back's not. If you're super quick, sometimes I will start in the front and work my way towards the back because I'm okay that the back is not as blonde as the front because that's going to mimic natural hair color. So for about the crown up, I'm going to start doing some triangles within this horizontal. Okay, so we're going to do one triangle here and one triangle here. Again, I'm not getting obsessed if they're even, like she said. If they're sisters, that's great. They're not twins. Flip that off to the side because that is going to be our dimension. If you blonde everything, how is the blonde going to stand out? So on this section here, I'm going to do a deep V. So with the deep V's, I want you to remember, if you put two V's together, what's going to happen in the middle? You're going to get a big stripe, okay? And we don't want that. So I'm always going to leave a little bit of space in between two deep V's because I do not want to get that big stripe by accident, okay? Holding it nice and tight. I'm going to keep my brush flat and I'm not going to move my pinch until I'm fully satisfied with what I see above. So we're going to bring up one side, okay? And we're going to bring up the other side, creating a V type of pattern, connecting it in the middle so that way we get more of a ribbon effect. And once I'm good with what I see above, I'm going to start sliding down. That's when my pinch starts to move. That's where my tension starts to move. If you start your tension all the way down here and you're trying to paint up here, you're not going to have a hard surface. And a hard surface is super important because you need that saturation. So keeping your pinch a little bit higher and sliding down as you're satisfied is the way I like to do it. So go ahead, keep going. And we're gonna just paint to our fingertips on this one. I'm not gonna saturate both sides. This is like the inner layer of her hair. I want this to be more natural. And then the sections above are gonna be more poppy blonde, okay?
And I feel like there's some questions out there, guys, but if they're not coming in the Q&A, I can't see them. Make sure you please put them in there because she is hitting you up with some great knowledge, guys.
Oh, thanks, girl. So this little strand right here is going to be that piece that's going to act like a low light between those two V's, okay? So giving a space in between. When in doubt, leave it out. So if you feel like you're a visual person like myself, I'm going to say, sayonara, push her out of the way, and I'm going to now go ahead and balayage this piece. So this is my low light right here. Can you get this a little closer so they can see what I'm talking about here? So this is going to be like the piece in between the two V's. So this will act like a low light. I'm just going to push it right out of the way. Let's get a little closer. Maybe we can really get up in there. Perfect. Awesome. Actually, hold on one second, you guys. I'm going to move my phone stand up higher so you guys have a better view. How's that? Is that looking good?
There we go. I think that's pretty good.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to hold it nice and tight. Again, I'm loading up my brush. My brush is nice and even, the loading. It's not a scoop on the end. It's nice and a flat amount of color or lightener on this brush, okay? If you have a huge hump of lightener like that, you're going to get, it's kind of reflecting. If you have a huge hump of lightener like that, when you put it in the hair, it's going to go right where you put it. So if you're going to put a hump in one area and not somewhere else, you're probably going to get somewhat of a bleed mark, if you will. So holding it nice and tight again, we're going to bring up one side. Keeping my brush on its side using the body of the brush. I'm never going in like this because I don't want to get those bristles in between my sections and create bleed marks, okay? So the other side, again, I'm bringing it up and I'm connecting it in the middle. I want you guys to really pay attention to my pinch here because I think this is really important and this is where things go wrong for some. So as I'm fully satisfied, I'm going right to my pinch And now I'm sliding down, okay? As I'm sliding down, it's only because I'm satisfied with what's above. Making sure it's super saturated. You can't see the hair in between. And we're only painting exactly to our fingers. Ooh, man down. She's good.
And Adina, what developer are you using right now?
I'm using 30.
So she's usually using Blonde Studio 9, which is a powder-based lightener with the oil developer 30 volume, guys.
This is that low light that I was talking about that I just manually moved. This is really important to me because when in doubt, leave it out. If you feel like it might not look well, just don't put it in. All right, well, now we're going to add another piece of plastic. I like to installate with plastic.
I love that technique. The plastic is always the bane of my existence in balayage.
Oh, so true. It is so annoying. So now we're going to go working up this head here. And we are going to do another horizontal section. Okay. And we're going to do the same exact thing. But in this section here, I'm going to do a couple more triangles. And I'm going to do 3 triangles, one here, here, and here. On the sides, I'm going to do a slant. And in the middle, I'm going to do a V. The slant's going to be more gradient. So as the highest point of blonde is always going towards the face as well. So that way it mimics natural color. So the gradient effect right behind the ear, I'm going to saturate both sides of the hair, especially the slants right here, because this is going to sit right behind her ear again. And I really want her to be poppy blonde, only in the right spaces. So right here in this horizontal, we're going to do a triangle. Pushing that up and out of the way. Now we're going to do another triangle here in the corner. Okay. And another triangle. This hair right here is going to act like depth. I want you guys to have fun with this type of pattern. If you try it, tag me. I want to see it because I think this is super fun and it's really nice to see inspiration or my work out there or inspired by. So this area here, let's say this was fall. I would take Dia Light or Dia Richesse, put this right on this section here and low light this whole thing if she was super blonde. Or if I wanted to get rid of, she has a little bit of old blonde in this section and I wanted it gone, I could tone this right out, put another piece of plastic on top and then balayage those sections that lay above. Does that make sense? So we're gonna go ahead and just pull it out of the way though. But you could do something like that in the fall or the winter to even make the depth more exaggerated. Okay.
So Adina, while you're painting these, I did open up the chat and we did have questions. So guys, I need you to put them in the Q&A. So I'm going to search through for a couple. Galaxy Note 8 asks, are there some plastics that are better than others?
Well, I don't normally do this, but yeah, I love my Costco plastic. You know, keeping it real. I like Kirkland's plastic. I don't know what it is about it. I love stretch tight. I've tried other plastics. Brands have sent me plastics, and I just like what I like.
And I'd say the ones that I've used, I actually like the ones that are a little bit more sticky. There are some brands that don't stick to each other, so it's a hot mess as you start layering down the hair. So it's really personal opinion, and whether it's perforated or not, you know, you just have to start trying them out to see. And then we have a question here from Barbara is, how does it not bleed onto the other hair? And I'm assuming she's asking about the lightener.
Okay, it's because we put the plastic in between every section. So it has a nice barrier in between.
And then if you guys notice in that piece that she just laid down, the only part that has lightener on the back side is the very bottom, right? And so it's laying on the plastic that she's already used. And then everything else was surface painting. So she doesn't have, she doesn't have to worry about it laying on that dark shadow piece underneath.
Nope. So like she said, only the bottoms are saturated on both sides. You cannot saturate both sides of this balayage section. It's too thick. So the only reason why I saturate just the tips of the hair is that's just the oldest hair. So it does get a little finer as it gets down to the ends, right? So that's the only reason why. If you saturate all of this up here, you're going to ask for like a nice good blonde orange, if you will, especially in an open air technique. So only saturate the tips. And I have plastic in between every single section. And I don't like to use foil when I'm doing open air because I feel like the foil makes dents. If I try to put this whole section inside of a foil and I fold it and, try to fold it in, it'll like dent the balayage and it'll push it through the section. So notice like what Carrie Lane was saying, how there's nothing on this side. It's because it's surface painted until I saturate the tips. So I'm going to always reload the back of my hand, putting it on the top and saturating both sides, only the last few inches or so. So the reason why I like to blend out the balayage in the back is that look at this hard line. We're going to take our brush and we're going to blend it down, making sure it's no hard lines. If you're new to balayage, I would definitely suggest to start with your clay 7. It's a little bit more to control. That's why I wanted to bring up clay 7 today. A little bit easier to control just because it's a little stiffer. So try that if you're new.
And then Adina, as you're doing this slant, we have a question. It says, how do you not get a harsh line when doing the slant?
How do I not get a harsh line of doing a slant? Well, a slant is going to be more gradient. So I've never really had a harsh line with a slant ever. But I think it has to do with my pinch. So as I'm holding it, notice I'm holding it flat. I'm not twisting, I'm not turning. The section's also not being pinched from the sides. It's not gathering in the middle. Can you guys see that? It's more just pinched on the top, okay? So not from the sides in. So holding it with the hair flat and pinching it from the top and the bottom. And then starting my highest point of blonde towards the face. The reason why I'm talking about the pinch, 1 second, because I want to kind of demonstrate it. Okay, hold on. When you let go, do you see how it kind of separates a little up here? That's going to give you that more gradient effect. So I think the pinch maybe is where that's happening. Okay, so again, saturation is key. You need to saturate the hair like crazy so you don't see through it. Going all the way down, all the way down. And I'm re-dipping a bunch of times. You can probably hear me going in. I see a lot of girls in the salon, they always try to get like one dip for a whole section. It does not work like that, my friends. You cannot do that. All right, bringing it up. Okay, I'm gonna take that really quick, drop it down, and blend out that backside. Please come in with the questions. There's nothing like being in a room with just 2 people and teaching. So please, Carrie Ann, oh my God. Carrie Lane is going to throw out all these questions. It's so nice to have interaction. I love that.
Now, we have a question. I think you might have answered this as in the opposite way as to why you choose clay 7, but the question is, why do you paint with Blonde Studio 9 versus the clay 7? What about the Blonde Studio 9 do you like better? Is it the additional lift? And that's from Michael.
Okay, so Blonde Studio 9 is really great for brunettes. I love using it when I'm balayaging a brunette because Blonde Studio 7 will only get you so light. Blonde Studio 9 has just so much more of a punch and power in it. So I go for Blonde Studio 9 for someone I need more lift and quicker. Blonde Studio 7, like I said, I like to use it more on like my level 7s and above because it lifts flawlessly and it lifts a little bit slower though. So a level 7 is better for clay 7. Does that make sense? Did I answer that?
I think so. Yeah, it's just the power for sure that Blonde Studio 9, and we only have so much time on this live, and we're featuring Blonde Studio 9 with Bonder inside, so that is why. Now, a couple of questions before you do this section.
Sure.
Somebody asked, how thick are your sections? That came from Emily. And then can you show the sectioning for that area again? I'm not sure that that's possible to show what you did because once you lay it down, you can't move it up and down.
No, so I'm definitely I'm not going to be able to move this section for you, but I can twirl her around a little bit so you can see the whole idea. So really quick, before I start on the next one, what you can see here is that we have the V right here, and then we have a slant and a slant. But do you see these areas that are sitting in between the three sections? Look at that depth. You can already see that these three sections have something to stand against. Standout balayage. So we have a slant, a V, and a slant. And then these two sections in between here are going to be your depth sections. This is super important. That's why I like to do the triangles in the middle of the horizontal. All right. Any balayage sections should never be bigger than your peace sign. That's just the rule of thumb for me, especially when you're newer. As time gets on and you're getting more control of your brush and understanding, go larger because you know you can do it. But in the beginning, don't go larger than your peace sign because it's just this will be the right amount of hair to handle. Okay. Same with our sections on the horizontal. Don't have your hair sections be any larger than what your peace sign is in between. Okay. So just the peace sign.
That's a great practice for sure. Thank you for sharing that.
Really quick too, since this is also a content class, notice how my glove is pink. And when you're making a video, when something is bright colored, it's going to catch the viewer's eye as they're scrolling. So using a bright colored comb, a bright colored glove, something like that, it's going to catch the viewer. So I like using pink gloves as often as I can because it's really good for gaining that brand and client attention. Okay. Because like I said, it's so nice to know that there's another world outside of being away, being behind the chair all the time. And I don't want to fool you guys. I'm still 40 hours behind the chair because I'm crazy. Let me see if I can make this taller. Yep. Awesome. So we can see the top. Taking this right here, this whole top crown area, and we're doing something a little different here. We're not leaving out anything for depth because we have enough of depth that's sitting on underneath here. So this section, we're going to do 3 triangles. So going up and pulling this to the side. And then same thing with here, going down, dropping it low. Okay. Can you tilt your head back a little bit for me? So you can see here, that's what we have going on. Okay. You can put your head normal now. So putting these 2 sections out of the way, and this is what I'm going to do in this section here, is I'm going to do my strand balayage. My strand balayage is when I paint little tiny lines to mimic a natural looking hair color, a natural highlight, if you will. I love doing the strand balayage on the hair that's going to be shown the most. Okay, so anything that's around where she parts her hair. And first things first is you're always going to prep your brush with a little tiny bead on the tip of your brush. It might be hard to see, but I have plenty of videos online too with this technique for, you know, referencing later after. But I think that you get to have this video for life. I'm 90% sure. Can they
Yes, they
rewatch
will.
it?
They will get an email if they registered to see this live. So if you missed anything, don't worry, it's coming your way.
Okay. So holding this nice and tight, keeping my brush flat. My brush is loaded with a little tiny bead on the top, and I'm just going to paint a baby little line. I love doing this technique only around where they part their hair.
Adina, we have a question from the Samsung Galaxy 7. Do the triangles make the hair look ribbony?
That's a great question. I would say so. I like doing the triangles because it gives more depth within it. So this is going to sit underneath these 2 sections here. So you can see we're going to have all these pockets of depth. Yeah, so it's going to definitely look more like a ribbon.
Yeah, so when she did the wider panels, instead of those small, you're going to get a little bit more blended of a look. And in this particular triangle section, definitely that ribbon look that everybody looks for on, you know, Pinterest and Instagram. There are different ways to get the answer you want, the look you want, right? It's not all the same.
I do think that this is going to be more of a natural looking than what's underneath. That this is going to be more realistic, not huge pieces. So it does give a ribbon, but it also has like a sun-kissed look to it with these little tiny strips that were painted. Under here would be a little bit more of a thicker ribbon, which we're obviously going to show you guys at the end when she's done. And also, I'm going to take a million photos of her when today is over, and I'm going to post a picture right after.
And Adina, a quick question. What was your mixing ratio again today with your Blonde Studio 9 with Bonder inside and 30 volume?
1 scoop to 1.5 ounces.
Perfect.
One thing about Blonde Studio 9 is it stays creamy forever. It does not dry out. And I love using it, especially for my foliages. It just stays so creamy and the lift is just flawless. There's been a few times I didn't even feel the need to tone anyone because of how flawless the lift was.
Right? That we love it when we don't have to do that second step for sure.
So I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of plastic on this middle section here. I'm going to go ahead and fold it over so it stays out of my way for the other sections. And perfect. So let's pull up this one here. Always combing it through before you get started because you don't want to balayage in any tangles. I always say like snarls and people are like, what's snarls? I'm like, oh God, maybe that's a Massachusetts thing. I don't know.
It probably is. I mean, I know exactly what you mean, but definitely out here in the West, we we don't use snarls.
I know. I'm like, oh, all right. Is that just me? I'm going to try to get a little bit closer for you guys so you can really see this. And don't mind my content room. I thought I had it where you wouldn't see the rest of it, but here we are. So holding it nice and tight, we're going to keep my brush flat. And we're going to paint a little baby line. Make sure you guys can see. Okay. Another little tiny line in between. This is a little bit different than your V's. There's going to be about 3 lines instead of 2. So it's kind of creating a W. Okay, you can see that right there, how it's going to have those nice pockets of depth in between those balayage little baby strands. Connecting it together as it gets lower, you're going to determine where you want your depth to live. You don't have to leave that much. You could have started the connection up higher if you wanted. I'm gonna have you pull that phone stand out a little bit so that I can see the full thing now. Okay.
So Adina, we have a quick question. What would you say your model's starting level is?
She's between a 6 and a 7. She has fine textured hair, blue eyes. I know she's gonna lift like a dream.
And then this is a great question since everybody's embracing your curl. Could you do this placement on curly hair?
I can't see why not. I think on curly hair though, what you're gonna really see is some like nice bouncy curls of stronger blonde throughout here. And then the top will be more natural. So I think it would mimic almost the same thing, but I think the curls almost would be bolder, which I think would look awesome.
I love that you guys are putting questions in the Q&A. Please keep doing that. Again, not in the chat box, but there's a Q&A portion.
Q&A.
Elisa says, what are your favorite brushes to use?
I love my Color Track white glitter brushes. I know you can also get those at Salon Centric. Yeah, I like my white glitter brushes by Color Track. I also really love the L'Oreal black brushes, especially for touching up, because they're not as wide. They're a little bit like smaller than this, They're definitely one of my favorites. I don't have any of them here right now. I have them at the salon.
I like them for detail like that too because they're like a makeup brush. They actually angle in at a point, so I can get a lot more precise for those regrowth tiny applications for balayage for sure.
Yep, I love that.
And then April can't stay on the whole time, and I just wanted, I know you, I think you said this, but she asked, will you be posting the results later?
Yes, 100%. Holding it nice and tight. I'm going to keep my brush flat, loading up this lightener, reapplying the back of my palm of my hands. And remember, do not apply it here, the back instead, okay? If you apply it here and you're trying to grab your next section, you're going to have transfer of the lightener where you don't want it to go, okay? You don't want to lose control during your balayage. So saturating both sides to get a poppy blonde, and I'm going to blend out that back side there, lifting it all the way up, bringing it back down and blending that out.
Woo, guys, you guys have finally found the Q&A department. Adina, we have a lot of questions coming through.
Woo, let's hear them.
All right, the first one from Heather. How many applications will this take with her density and length with Bond Studio 9?
What do you think she means by applications?
I'm
Like
not really
sections?
sure. So Heather, go ahead and specify for that. I'm going to find it down through the rest of them and we'll come back to that. Then with Sylvia, how close to the root do you go?
Hold on, Sylvia, 1 second. You can see how close I get up in there.
Now that's her choice. She could also drop that down a 1/2 inch, right?
I could drop it down a lot more. It depends on what they want to have. If this was a brunette, my rule of thumb for a brunette, you guys, is always keeping this section of hair dark, because when a brunette doesn't identify as a brunette anymore, they're not going to like their hair. So I like to keep this area right where my palm of my hand, so I'm trying to get the right angle, right where my hand would be, dark. So then I would apply my balayage right around my hand, okay? That's a rule of thumb for a brunette, at least in my chair.
I have to agree, and I love how you say that. You're only the second person, the person that taught me, and you. You have to sometimes ask your client, do you identify as a brunette or blonde? And it's all in whether you're using foils or freehand surfaced, balayage is your end result is based on what they want to be. Do they want to be a blonde or do they want to be a brunette with highlights?
Definitely. And I know for me, my brunettes want to be brunette a lot of the time. Sometimes they want to be blonde, but they want more like work that looks blonde mixed in with their brunette. At least what happens in my chair. So to me, I don't like to balayage or do much, even or a foil on baby hairs, unless they ask for it. So because if they don't ask for it, I don't want to look like there was breakage from the blonde, because if you make the baby hairs blonde, that's probably what they're going to look like, okay? So I like to keep those out of the way and for later, or not for later, for a different time if we want. So right here, I'm going to split up this horizontal section, and this section right here is going to be my hairline detail. So when she pulls her hair up, we're going to really see it, okay? So pull that out of the way. And hold on, I'm going to change my glove just because this one's getting a little dirty. I probably change my glove depending on the client like 3 to 4 times within a balayage application. And of course, it's not going on. So we got a horizontal section. We have about an inch section that's pulled out around her face. That's going to be her hairline detailing. This section here, we're going to paint a slant, keeping the highest point of blonde towards the face. This area too, again, one of the things I like is to see right around that neck area to be really poppy blonde. So this section, I am going to saturate the tips of the hair, okay? So holding it nice and tight, I'm going to keep my brush flat, right? And painting a slant, keeping the highest point of blonde towards the face. All right. Dropping it low, dropping it low. Carrie Lynn, let me know if my hair gets in the way of the camera or the balayage.
Going good so far. Can you answer some questions?
Hell yeah, let's hear them.
All right, so from Bayasa, I hope I pronounced your name right. I apologize if I didn't. She asks, or they ask, if you want to erase a spot where you put lightener on, how would you do that?
Ooh, that's a hard one. It depends on how large the area it was. Balayage is tricky. Like when it's on like Donkey Kong. Like you cannot mess around. You can't move the section after. It kind of depends. If anything, I would take my fingers right away and try to like rub it off. But yeah, you cannot. I'm gonna have you do this. It just came out. I don't know how you would do that. Maybe take a little bit of water on a tip of a towel and hit that spot, but it would have to be pretty minimal.
So our next question is from Crystal. She says she loves your work in teaching, and how much do you typically charge for this service?
I don't like to talk about price ever, only because there was a time when I taught a class and I was in the Boston area and I live out in like Southwick, Massachusetts. Southwick, Massachusetts has cows and farmland, okay? So while she gets my plastic situated, because it kind of came apart there for a second, I always like to talk about like where you live. So if I go to LA as an example, and they have a flat and they may pay like $3,000 for their flat with on-street parking, no washer and dryer. Okay. Where I live, I don't pay $3,000 a month to live, and I have way more square footage with a washer and dryer and a garage. Okay. And a pool and other things that are amazing to have that I worked really hard for. So our prices just can't be compared. So I don't like talking about them that much.
Thank you. That's perfect. That's what I say too. It just depends on what your market is.
For sure.
You can't charge also what Adina charges. She's been doing this for a very long time. When you start off, it will be less. As you gain more knowledge and your faster, prices change, just like with any other service that you do in the salon.
For sure.
Now you're in the way. We can't see what you're doing.
Thank you. Also, being that just happened, if you're starting to create content behind your chair, I highly suggest you wear a scrunchie when you're doing that, because I can't tell you how many videos I have recorded and I was so excited, and comes to find out I just recorded my hair bouncing in front of my phone. So definitely put a scrunchie in, take a clip or something and get it out of the way before you start recording. My God, it used to be crazy when I had extensions too, because it would be just like hanging in the video. So I'm bringing this hair, I'm over directing it back. I'm directing it right to my body. You can see right here that the tension's not moving. I'm painting little tiny ribbons. So I'm kind of doing exactly what we were doing in the back crown area. I'm doing my strand balayage right around her hairline because I want it to look super natural when she pulls her hair back. Her ends are already blonde enough, so I'm just going to let it drop right there. And I'm going to add another small piece of plastic. And that's also one of the reasons why I started with the back section first with a slant, because I wanted to be able to drape this over that section, okay? So we're going to keep working our way up here. Now we have
and
section.
Caitlin and Heather almost have the same question, so I'm going to use Caitlin. Do you mix a fresh batch of lightener once hitting the front sections, or do you use one bowl for the whole head? And Heather's was, how many bowls mixed for this client?
This is going to be 2 bowls mixed, and it's going to be 2 scoops. So 1 scoop per bowl. Okay. We already went through 1. This is the new bowl that we used on the crown and on the sides. So great question. I also feel like with Blonde Studio 7, you can get so much real estate with 1 scoop from Blonde Studio 7, the clay lightener. I'll use 1 scoop on like a whole entire head of balayage.
And then since we're talking about mixing, Nicole asked, and I'll just let them know, she asked if you mixed half clay 7 with this. She did not. She mixed only Blonde Studio 9 with Bonder inside using the dedicated oil developer 30 volume, 1 scoop to, and again, 1.5 ounces. Is that correct, Adina?
You got it.
The two technologies actually just don't mix with each other. You would reduce the elasticity of the clay and you don't have any oil in clay. And so if you mix it with the oil developer, it just does not work to mix those two together.
Is that your dog?
Is he snoring? Do you hear snoring?
Yes.
Yes, he's like a 20-pound, snores like a freight train.
I'm like, what on earth was that noise?
I'm so sorry.
That's hysterical. I'm like, what is that this whole time? Okay, well, we need to meet the dog by the end of this. So
Okay.
I'm gonna resaturate the back of my hand, and I'm going to take this little area here and saturate both sides of her hair. Remember, I'm only saturating the last few inches of that section. I'm gonna bring it up, and I'm gonna blend out that back side here. And drop it low. Okay. I left out this section here because we're going to balayage that in a different way. We're going to over direct it back towards me, just like I did that other hairline detail. So go ahead, put a piece of plastic on the top. If you are a slow balayager, because maybe you're new, do not have your plastics from front to back connect. Because if you need to rinse off the back, you are never going to get this plastic off of the front and the back, okay? So don't have the plastics touching if you are a little bit slower on the balayage, okay? So we're gonna take this section here. Angel, can you bring that camera up nice and close for us? Perfect. We're gonna take this section here and we're gonna over direct it back, exposing this area right here, okay? And I'm gonna, again, prep the tip of my brush with a little tiny bead because we're switching back to that strand-like balayage, okay? So I know someone just asked me, what would you do if you got lightener in a place that you don't want? I just did. I'm gonna take that before I even get started and take my nails and wipe it off, okay? Then we're gonna go ahead and place another little tiny line right up in this area. You cannot forget about this area that's right around that hairline space that kind of recedes. I hate using that word when I have a model here because they're like, what? My hair's receding? Oh my God, I'm balding. No, you're not. It's just not every hairline is created equal. Don't worry. But that area you don't want to forget about. Do not discount that spot because you don't want your client to come back and say, hey, I feel like I have a black hole around my hairline. So don't discount that area, okay?
Adina from Basaya, we have a question. Would you say this is a blonder placement of the way you section this model out, or is it more of a natural placement?
It's definitely more natural. So if she's been on this whole time, in the back section where I left out those depth areas, you could have teased it and tipped it out to make it even that more of a punchy blonde. I didn't want that. I wanted her to still be more natural. She's also one of my really good clients' daughters. And if I piss off her mom, she might not be the happiest with me. So I want her to be more lived in and I want her to be more natural. Right? I don't want to hear from Alina. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take this little area right around her hairline and pull that out of the way because this is gonna be somewhat of her money piece. So now this horizontal section, we are going to split it in half and on a diagonal, kind of like a diagonal back, if you will, if you can see that. Can you get the camera a little bit closer for me? Perfect. So a diagonal back in this horizontal. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with this section right here. The reason being is once I paint the section, it's going to lay down and it's not going to move, right? Because you can't move a section after you paint it. So notice, what is it going to sit on top of? This little area right here, right? So I'm not going to be able to paint this. This is almost going to be like a block, if you will, because once this is on, I ain't moving it and I can't paint this area. This area is going to be depth to make these two areas really stand out. Does that make sense? Okay. So diagonal back, and we're going to paint this section first. You can keep that phone stand just like that. Let's get up close and personal.
And while you're doing this, let me go back, and I promise we will get to all of your questions. They, again, finally found the Q&A department, but I'm trying to find the questions that are appropriate at the time. We will answer all of them. Let's see. So in the front, you do horizontal sections instead of triangles, and that's from Sylvia.
You got it. Sylvia, you know it. Oh my God, that snore. He has
I'm
a
so
motor.
sorry.
I'm an animal lover. I just think it's hilarious. I'm like, at first I thought there was something going on with our audio again. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I get it all the time when I do my Zoom classes, and I am so used to it. I don't notice, and I don't think it comes. I'm like, oh, they're not going to hear that on the speaker. But yeah, no. Apparently, his snores come through like crazy.
All right, so you can see here, I did my strand balayage. We have 3 highest points of blonde, and then we have that depth in between. We're gonna start dropping it low, and we're gonna saturate the ends here, okay? All right, keep saturating.
And Heather Monroe asks, how do you get your clients to stay still in the chair when you're done balayaging and they're processing it so it doesn't disrupt processing?
I'm just so straightforward with my people, and it's like my sister says about me, it's either you love me or you hate me, because I'm so damn honest that you just have to appreciate it or you can't handle it. I will tell my clients, if you move, you're going to ruin your shirt. And now that I've told you this, I'm not responsible for your shirt. And they're like, okay. And they don't move. They're like mummies. And they sit there and they just go on their phone. All right. You just have to explain it to them. The cape needs to stay on the outside of the chair. And if it doesn't, it's going to smush between the chair and your back, and your balayage is not going to look good, and you still have to pay for it. They're like, okay, I'm not moving. Just be honest with them and they will respect you more. And my clients laugh because I say it just like that. I'm like, be like a mummy. And if you ruin your shirt, it's on you because I told you to do this. And they laugh. They think it's hysterical. They're like, yes, yes, yes. All right, we're dropping that section there. Now, again, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the back, I don't want to have 2 pieces of lightener touching, right? Because you don't want that 90 strip unless you want to do it on purpose. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a little baby sliver in between the 2 and drop it out. Okay. Think of it as a low light. Think of it as a little low light, a depth section. Okay. That's also going to give you insurance because, like I said earlier, when in doubt, leave it out. Okay. Holding it nice and tight, and we're going to get some little baby strands up in here. Keeping balayaging that up, doing a little tiny bead on my tip here of the brush. Okay.
And I don't know about you, but this hour, we're 1 hour in, has gone by so fast. Everybody with their questions. This is great. So my next question is from Basaya again. Do you ever use foils and an open air technique in the same service?
Yeah, so there's plenty of times I will foil and then I will tip out the ends outside of the foils. And one thing I've been doing with my tip outs is I'm actually taking my wet brush and I'm brushing in the tip outs, and I am seeing a tremendous difference with brightening those old ends. So try that, you guys. If you guys have that client that you just cannot beat the brass out of her ends, I've had plenty of those, and I'm like, my God, I've tipped out these ends 10 times. They're still not getting bright enough. I took a wet brush the other day because I was just so annoyed with these ends on my client. And I'm going to tell you right now, it was probably the best her hair has ever looked. And it made a huge difference brushing in the lighter. So yeah, I do foils and I do open air. A lot of the times, like if certain hairlines cannot support a balayage. So if someone's hairline is super thin and see-through, I don't feel like it's going to support a balayage. It certainly would not support Blonde Studio 9 because Blonde Studio 9 is so soft that I feel like it would either have to be clay because of the thickness of the lightener, or it would have to be put in a foil. So a lot of the times my clients want to see the blonde directly up at the root and really strong right around their hairline. So I will foil the front and then balayage the rest. When I do that, I always drop my developer as low as I can go in the foil, and then I do what I usually would do for a balayage. That way it has time to sit. Okay. And worst case scenario, if you need to pull the foil, do so, and then just flick the hair back over the plastic because the plastic's a barrier. So you don't have to like get worried about like, oh, do I need to rinse that off? Nope. Okay.
And Heather asked, could you incorporate baby lights by the face for this?
Yeah, just like what I was saying, doing a hairline detail, 100%. All right, let's get this on so we can go over content creation. Let me bring that right over for me.
And Christina asks, could you have done that last section in one? I'm assuming not breaking it up with the diagonal back sectioning.
You could, but I like doing it in the diagonal back because that little pocket of depth that I'm creating there, but you definitely could put that in one if you wanted. Yeah. So remember, we're not going to do these baby hairs here because we don't want to by accident make it look like we created breakage when we didn't, okay? Pulling out a little bit of hair right around our hairline. So when I pull this up and I'm going to balayage it, it's going to go right around our face. We're just going to take that right out. And this section here, I'm going to paint the top of, not the hairline of, okay? So holding it nice and tight, keeping my brush flat, and I'm going to go with a slant. The slant, the highest point of the blonde is going to go towards her face for a gradient effect, okay? Notice that my pinch is not moving. If my pinch is too far down, it's gonna give too much slack in the hair and I'm not gonna be able to get the right amount of saturation, which is super important because you need the right amount of lift, okay? So we're gonna go ahead, we're applying it, making sure it's fully saturated. We don't see hair in between, and I'm dipping my brush once again. Going on, applying, and then I'm going to take the back of my hand and reload it. I reload the back of my hand every single time I have a section, okay? If you don't reload, it could work, and sure, there's been times I've forgotten, but a lot of the times you need enough lightener on the back of your hand to make sure that it's going to stick when you bring it up to blend out that backside, okay? So I'm grabbing some more plastic, I'm going to apply it. I started with that back section instead of the hairline for this exact reason. I'm going to take this plastic, take this hair, those little baby hairs are just going to go out of my way. See you later. And we're going to hold it and over direct it back towards me. Once I've over directing it back, I'm going to paint little tiny strands and I'm going to do what I call as my strand balayage. I'm prepping my brush with a little tiny bead of lightener and I'm painting little highest points of blonde, okay? And once we get that painted on, I'm going to lay it over this piece of plastic. That way I don't get any hard or any like lightener where it shouldn't have gone, okay?
Adina Basaya says, would you ever use your fingers to blend the tips or only the brush?
Only the brush. And if you guys have noticed, I'm not swiping up at all. I feel like when you swipe up, or if you try to use your finger, you're probably going to press too hard and press the lightener in, and you might get some splotchy marks from using your finger. I'm not saying you will, because one thing I love about hair, there's 1,000 ways to get to the same end result, and it's whatever works for us. And again, no one is you, and that is your superpower. And I always tell people that this is not the right way. This is just the Adina way, and it works for me. So no, I wouldn't use my finger, and I wouldn't flick up either. People always are shocked that I don't like to do this the swiping up. I'm going to tell you why. When you guys foil and you swipe up in a foil, do you ever notice that there is a blonde orange line and then it's the perfect lift? It's because you swiped up so much that you swiped up to the point where you took that lightener and thinned it out so much that it didn't have the right amount of saturation to have the same amount of lift that the rest of the foil have. It's the same thing for balayage. So if you're going to swipe up, I think I lose the control for the saturation. And then you're going to have blonde orange mixed into your perfect blonde. And then you might have to root shadow as a band-aid to get rid of that blonde orange. I never root shadow any of my balayages. And if I ever have had to, it's only because they wanted a more rootier look and I went too high. Okay.
Snaps, amen, sister. Let me tell you, when I teach my balayage classes, I cannot say those things anymore. That I'm like, why are you guys all doing this root shadow? You're working harder and not smarter. So
thank
you for putting that out there, Adina.
It is all about placement, my friends, and it's just knowing the right amount of depth. So right here, I'm doing a slant and I'm going to have some depth that's going to sit underneath those strand balayage pieces I'm going to do, right? So knowing where you're going to have, so again, like it's like that standout balayage. I love that our friend Matt that is running the show here today, he came up with the word standout balayage. And I was like, you know what? I think I say that a lot. Like, how do you make the blonde stand out? And that's exactly what standout balayage is to me, is making the blonde stand out, whether it be summer, fall, spring, you know, whatever it may be, is how we're going to make it stand out. And it's going to be having the right amount of depth in the certain pockets that we need. So this right here is going to help the section above it.
Yeah, I always love to say that the balayage is more about the shadow than it is the blonde, because like you said before, without that shadow, the blonde does not stand out, just plain and simple.
It's so true. So again, we're going to blend out that backside because it's a hard line. If I didn't, we would be like, what the heck is going on? That looks like a killer balayage application, but what? There's a hard mark. It's because I didn't blend out the backside. Like I say, when we go to the gym, right? Everybody's always squatting. Everybody cares about their backside. So you need to care about the backside of your balayage, right?
And Olivia asks, do you apply the lightener based off your client's natural part, or do you apply all your
Yes.
applications based off the middle?
Nope, their natural part. So a lot of clients will say to you, well, I'm a flipper. No, you are not. You are not a flipper. I have yet to meet a true flipper. Okay. And how you'll know if they're a true flipper is you go to their Instagram page. I guarantee you, all your clients are on the same side and their part is on the same side in every single photo they take. They're not a flipper and they know their good side. Okay. So when they say, I flip all the time, da 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 da, you just say, all right. So what side do you think your hair is mostly on? I'll say, what time, how 90%, what side is it on? And they always have an answer. So you want to balayage where they part, okay? If you don't balayage where they part, it could be hidden and then they're not going to see it. And I think that's one of the reasons, like people say, like, why is a money piece called a money piece? The reason why it's called a money piece is that if they can't see their hair color, they're not going to pay. So the money piece is exactly what they see first. So if they like their money piece, they like their hair, they're going to pay for it. Okay.
And Basaya has a quick question about that. If they want a thicker money piece, how would you do that?
I would probably then put it in a foil. Then instead of putting it in a balayage, I would foil the front, balayage the rest. So right on this horizontal section, again, I'm going diagonal back and I'm going to paint my baby beads of lightener. And the reason why I'm going diagonal back is when this lays down, it's going to lay over that area. So it's going to block me from over painting, and it's going to save an area for depth for me. And that's, again, super important to make your blonde stand out. And that is what we're doing today. It's a standout balayage. So I got my brush with a bead of lightener on the tip. I'm holding it nice and tight, and I'm going to go ahead and paint these lines, okay? Painting these little tiny baby lines like you're going to mimic a natural looking color, right? So go ahead, paint it, paint it. Awesome. Another dip, another line on the tip of my brush, and bring that baby up. Again, for people that were like, oh, how far are you going? I'm going all the way up. I want her to see it. But if she was like, I really want to stay darker on the top, I may have painted it a little lower. And if I painted it a little lower, I don't think I would have all three strands being even. I would have maybe the middle one be a little higher and the two other ones being on a different type of, like maybe this one here and this one here. That way it doesn't look uniform, and that way it looks more natural. I hope that makes sense.
For sure, it did to me. I think it did for everyone else. And Michael asks, how would you alter your application technique if a guest came in with grown out balayage who already had really bright ends?
You just wouldn't do exactly what I'm about to do right now. I would just go right up until those blonde ends and then call it a day. I wouldn't go over them. I would just paint exactly the way I did, but don't do what I'm doing at this exact moment, saturating both sides and blending out the back. I would leave that alone. That's a great question. So I'm going to take this section here and I'm going to do what I did on the other side and take a little tiny baby sliver and drop it out. Okay. This is going to act like a low light. It's going to also be that section in between these two sections that's going to give us a when in doubt, leave it out section. So we don't paint two strips next to each other and create a big line. Okay. So another bead on the tip of my brush, going, going, going.
And we have a question from Sylvia. It says, what do you do if someone comes in with different type of blondes or colors and they want this done?
I mean, it's so hard to say because I would have to see what we're talking about here. And balayage is not always meant for everyone. I feel like the right client is for balayage, okay? So if they are a box dye, I'm probably not going to balayage it. If they've had permanent color, I'm probably not going to balayage it. Just because I'm not going to be guaranteed, I'm not going to guarantee the amount of lift that I'll get. I like to always under promise. So that way when it's done, we're like, whoa, the both of us are like shocked. And I will tell my clients, like when I'm also shocked, I have no shame in my game. I'm like, damn, this turned out way better than I thought it could have.
Right.
And, and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it is. There's nothing wrong with being honest with your people. And I also, like I said, under promise. I'll tell somebody, we can try the balayage, but to be honest, I can't guarantee that you're gonna get the right amount of lift. So if you want, we can do a foliage. And so happy that Instagram came up with a foliage word because so many people are obsessed with having the balayage, but they don't understand that sometimes some clients just need the extra insulation from the foil.
Correct. And then Jillian says, how do you feel about painting with a chip brush? I'm not sure what a chip brush is. Maybe you know what that is?
Yeah, so a chip brush is something you can buy at like Home Depot. You are probably gonna like stain some wood with it. And if this is this Jillian from Canada? Because if it is, it's one of my friends. She's the best. And I know she likes her chip brush. I have never used one. I know that's gonna be crazy because I've been balayaging since people were asking for it, and I've never used one. I've just always used a long bristle type of brush. And then I started working with Color Track a long time ago, and they sent me a white glitter, and I was obsessed with it.
So real quick, before you send her away, what percentage of your clientele do you balayage?
I would say I still have root colors. Don't get me wrong. I love a good 5N root color when you're extremely tired. But I would say about anywhere between 70 and 80, maybe even 90. What do you think? For lightning services, not 100%, but definitely 80 to 90. I want to show you guys, I'm going to turn the camera around. I want to show you her full application. So we got the front details around her hairline here. And then we have the top that has the strand of balayage that's working its way down to be more poppy or blonde, okay? Everything's insulated. We're gonna bring it up. And I'm gonna show you the top again, a nice strand balayage. Well, I'm gonna turn her.
And what level from Crystal, what level do you usually prefer to balayage on?
To be honest, I don't like to balayage a level 6 and under unless they have a realistic expectations. If they are like, oh, I'm down to have warmth, then I will do that. If not, if they're like so obsessed with being super light, then I'll tell them like we need to put it in a foil. All right, my model is moving on, and she's gonna head out with my girl Angel and process, and we're gonna go over some content now.
Well, and real quick, I have a great question from Samsung Galaxy. Says, how do you feel social media has impacted the hair industry?
I mean, it's literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. I am so grateful for Instagram. I couldn't be where I am today without it. So no, I have nothing bad to say. I think it's great. I think we've learned, all of us, we've all learned a lot subconsciously as we scroll. And again, it brought me in another space in my career. I never thought I would be anywhere than just dying behind the chair and like ruining my body. My neck hurts, my hands hurts, now my elbow's hurting, right? And I didn't think there was another part of what we do. So social media changed my whole entire life for the better. I'm super grateful for an opportunity that Instagram has made for me.
And I just wanted to let you guys know the picking of the 5 social media Instagram accounts that Adina is going to go through was completely random. So once we get to that segment, there was no rhyme or reason as to why anyone was picked. It was all random.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about my favorite apps. If you follow me on social media, these are the 2 apps that I use all the time. So for Facetune, I use it when I'm doing any editing of my clients. So I will, sorry, my laptop just rang. So Facetune, like I'll remove like a blemish on my client's face because I know that I would like that for myself as well. Maybe smooth out a wrinkle or 2. I will blur out the background on this app. I will also like whiten teeth or eyes, but you have to keep in mind, you don't want anyone to look ridiculous. You don't want them to look plastic, and you want them to stay looking like themselves. There's nothing worse than when a client sees a photo of them and they're like, what? You know, like that doesn't even look like them. Also, keep in mind is you want to relate to your audience. So if the client looks completely fake, I'm like, then if anything has stopped me from scrolling, so I'm like, that person doesn't look like that, and I keep moving. You want to relate to your audience when you're posting on social media. So keep in mind with Facetune, do what you would want on yourself. Remove a blemish, brighten maybe some eyes, if you will, some teeth if they need it, but don't go crazy. So Video Shop, if you see any videos that I make online, you will see it with Video Shop. There's nothing else that I use except for something, which is coming up in a couple slides, which we'll get to soon. But Video Shop is what I've started with from the beginning. Something that I want to bring up when it comes to Video Shop, and I think this is what helped me in my career, is that I created freezing videos. I'm sure as you guys scroll, you see it all over, and I'm super proud of this trend that I created. And it seems like this trend is here to stay. I was one of the first, I was the first, I believe about 2 years ago. And I know Jillian is on here and she will contest to this, is that it truly was something that I did. Is being dyslexic, I would watch all these amazing videos and I'd go, wow, I don't know what I just watched, but that end result was amazing because it went so damn fast. It's a 1-minute education. So in my dyslexic mind, I'm like, I really wish there was a pause button on certain areas so I could take a minute and look at it. And then my content brain started working. And I was like, why can't I freeze a part of the video so that way I can point out certain key points that are super important? So what I was doing, because this is how crazy the editing I was doing, is I would go to the video and I would screenshot it and pose it into the video so that we would freeze at that exact time. As time went on, Video Shop ended up making a freeze button. They did not have that in the beginning. I'm not saying they made it because of me. Trust me, I'm not saying that. But it was really great that they made a freeze button. So within the Video Shop app, there is a freeze button. So if you want to get into making really detailed educational videos, do that. I gained 90,000 followers organically in the first year that I started freezing my videos because I think Instagram recognized that I was original and I did something different and something that no one else has done. I now see people that don't even follow me freezing their videos, and it's the coolest thing as a educator, influencer, and a hairstylist to see other people doing what I did. It really makes me happy. So not just that, I know people will always say to me, oh, must be nice to have an assistant, right? Because they don't understand, like they don't know how they can film videos. What I'm talking to you on, and what I'm talking to you with today is my phone stand that you see right here. My phone is clipped right into the top of it, and that is how I'm talking to you right now. This phone stand's on Amazon. It's super easy. I think it's $30 or $40. There's a few hot tips on the left here. So when you're mixing color and showing brand attention that way, you're going to want the screen facing up. That way you can see what you're doing, okay? For application, when you're applying that color, you want the screen to be facing you or facing what you're doing, so that way you can like look and see if where your phone is, if it's in the right area, okay? So having the screen facing the section is really good for when you're filming color. All right. Making sure that in the background when you're filming, a few hot tips, don't have it super cluttered, even though like it's sometimes really hard to do. I'll like push stuff all the way down into my other coworker station. They love me, but you know what I'm saying? It's like less clutter, the better. Okay. So this phone stand, take a screenshot, go buy it. You won't regret it. Also, it goes up super high and it tilts down. So that way you feel your skinniest. I know I like this picture versus this picture. All right. So grab this phone stand. It's 30 or 40 bucks on Amazon. Take a screenshot, write this down, or get your app out and start doing it. All right. I want to talk about photography. Okay. Photography is one of the biggest things on social media that started social media. Is at one point we were just seeing photos, cool things that our friends and family were doing, and then hairstylists. We started taking photos of our work. If anyone that is on this call right now has been doing hair longer than 10 years, they will know that we never took photos unless it was like random. It didn't build our career photos until as social media started popping up, and Facebook was the first thing for me that started building my clientele. I put a photo up, tag that person, and go to all their friends. So photos are definitely important, and I don't want anyone to dismiss them. Before and after shots are super important. It's really impactful for you, the viewer, and the brand. People love to see the before and after. So as an example here, you will see on the left-hand side, there's a check mark. It's because there's the same angle, all right? Where the other one is a different angle of before and after. Let me tell you something. I still want you to post either one of them because I still want you to be apparent and real and staying consistent on social media. So if you didn't have the first one with the green check mark and you only had the second one, I still want you to post it because it's still a good post. But the one with the green check mark is just more impactful. It's side by side. People want to see side by side. Or you can change this, make it a post, repost this exact one in like a month and make it a carousel post. So have the after photo be the first one and say swipe to see the before. Recycling content is super big too. So we all know what it's like, right? We take after photos. We only like one out of the thousands that we took, right? We always forget about the before photo. What I want you guys to do is post it on your station if your boss will allow it, and don't forget to take the before. Your client will tell you when they sit down, there's a note here that says, don't forget to take the before. She wants to see you be successful. Your client wants to see you go crazy and be, that they want to be on your social media because they want to support you. So they will remind you. It's the best thing. So my client will say it. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I totally forgot. And you guys, I totally forgot to take a before photo of my model that I just started here. So that happens to the best of us. All right. But I want to talk about lighting because people don't like, lighting is just so damn challenging. Whoever's doing the slide, does the video play on here? That middle piece there, I think that might be a video. If not, maybe it's not doing that on the slides here today. But you want to shut off the fluorescent lighting above. You can see on the first photo on the left-hand side, I have a circle on it. It has this golden hue on the top. Is the photo great? It's stunning. But the photo on the right has has no lights on, and you can see the true tone. Look at the depth. Her natural brunette doesn't have that red hue to it. Also, the blonde balayage, it really is standing out in the photo, and it doesn't look as caramel. Both photos are absolutely stunning, but the one on the right is just true to tone, and it's the one that I would prefer to post. Okay. So the other one says on and off. The on, that's the lighting on. It was 7 p.m. in August a couple years ago. I love this example. Oh my gosh, someone's calling me. I'm sorry about that. So the one on the left there what says on, it's going to be it's too blown out. The shadows are crazy. Like it doesn't show the shine or the depth and dimensions of her hair. Where the lights are off, look how shiny and dimensional that is. It's so much better. So the photo on the left, I wouldn't have posted it because it just wouldn't have done well because it's so blown out and the shadows are crazy. But the one on the right is just so much more dimensional and the shine is real. So those are some really great examples. Shutting the lights off above. If your boss doesn't allow you to do that, because I've been to plenty of salons and taught across the country where this, if they shut off the front lights, it shuts off all the lights. So what you can do is you can get a big ass poster board and take that poster board, hold it above your client's head, and then take the photo. It'll block the fluorescent lighting. I've even seen people take an umbrella and hold it over their client's head, okay? And it does work. So a couple hot tips on that. So as you know, Instagram is really focusing on videos and reels these days. So I want to talk about what reels are to me. So if you are posting reels, it needs to check off one of these boxes here. Is it relatable? Is it educating? Is it entertaining? Are you learning? Is it simple and satisfying? Okay. First things first is relatable. One of the reasons why I tell you guys one of the most vulnerable things about me in the beginning in my introduction about how I'm dyslexic is that I want you guys to know I'm a real human being. I'm not this like famous person, if you will. I'm a real live normal person. And so being relatable is super important for your audience. You'll notice if you follow me in my stories, I'm always in a robe. I'm showing my cats real life stuff. That is what I'm doing. If I am home, I'm in a robe and I just want to be real. So being relatable and not always trying to be cool is going to actually help you gain a true relationship with your following. Educating. Of course, you know, if you follow me that I'm educating every day, all day. Brands love it. Clients love it. And one of the things about this too is don't discount it. If you're not looking for brand attention and you're not looking for stylists to follow you, if you're looking for clients, educating your clients is just as important as educating the stylist or the brand. So, or educating for the brand, okay? I've had plenty of my base colors come in and go, why don't I get teasy lights? They instantly upcharge their service by a huge amount. And I'm like, you know what? Great question, Susan. Why do you not get teasy lights? You go in the back and you think to yourself, man, you put Susan in a box as you thought she'd never wanted to change, when this whole time she was thinking about it. And thankfully she didn't go somewhere else. And thankfully she sat in your chair and she said, damn, I like what she posted online the other day. Okay. So educating. It's not just for the brand and it's not just to gain stylist attention. It's also to gain clients and it's also to help you give your clients an idea of what they could possibly get. Entertaining. Well, we all know like TikTok and Instagram, people are posting the funniest videos these days. Like either they're playing fun on our clients or there's this guy that I follow, his name is Carlos. He always posts these funny videos of like his dog and things. So make it entertaining. Are you having fun? People want to know. And learning. You want to be able to learn or teach someone something that goes along with education, but keeping it simple and satisfying. Satisfying would be a foil pull, showing that perfect lift that Blonde Studio 9 and with Bonder Inside gave you, right? Simple. Keeping it simple. Like one of the biggest videos that have ever popped off for me was putting a piece of cotton underneath a money piece. Okay. That video has gone viral like 10 times. Every time I post it, people love it. So putting a piece of cotton underneath a money piece foil is going to lift the foils off of the hair, off of their face. So that way it gives more airflow and that way the face doesn't heat up that first foil that's sitting on their forehead too fast. And the hairline hair around the hairline is the most fragile. So we don't need any extra heat on those babies. So take a piece of cotton, put it underneath, but it's just as simple as posting a hot tip like that. I never thought that anyone would care about a piece of cotton before. And man, do they do. It was such a nice, simple hot tip. So keeping it simple, keeping it real, educating and entertaining, and something satisfying as a foil pull is what your reels should be. Even like a purple shampoo, that is super satisfying. People love that. So now that we're talking about reels, I want to give you a cheat sheet. Okay. Yes, I said cheat sheet because I mean it. This is one of the best things that Instagram has came up with, you guys. It's called Reels template. If you have used this, please drop an emoji in that comment section of a hand, raise your hand, anything, maybe a little heart, drop a comment in there because I want to know if you've used the Reels template. Reels template is a cheat sheet. It is amazing, right? So what you're going to do is if you're scrolling on your Reels, and you're just, looking around, you will see on the left bottom hand corner, and it says use template. Click that. And however that person edited that video to that song, there's going to be these little tiny, little like, buckets, I guess, right? Like little buttons, if you will, with the exact seconds of what the video is going to be edited in. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to say again is click that button that says use template. Then the next screen pops up, as you can see right here, and it's going to have these little tiny squares at the bottom. And it's going to say these seconds of how the video was edited by that original person. So if anyone has not tried Reels template, because I didn't see many hands rose in the comment section, go to my last video that I posted today. That's a great template to start with. There's only 4 areas that you need to fill in. And when you do that, when you click that area that you're filling in, it'll be a little bubble that you can drag back and forth so you can pick the area of the video. Because somebody asked me once what happens if your video is 3 minutes long, but it's asking for 1 second of it? Don't worry, it's not going to be the first second of that video. You just tap it, you move that little button down, or the little like triangle or square that's going to pop up, and you can pick the exact area of that 3-minute video that you need that 1 second clip of. Okay. This is one of my favorite things is a Reels template. It's your cheat sheet.
Adina, not to come out of, voice of God out of nowhere, but you just totally blew my mind here because I have done Reels, but this template is going to be a game changer. So I hope everybody in the chat tells Adina how much they appreciate this knowledge, because that right there is going to change everything, including for myself.
Awesome. I'm so happy you popped on because I feel like alone right now. I'm like, is anybody on there? Throw a hand. Throw a hand.
I'll totally stay on with you.
So yeah, no, Reels template is the best. Reels template is also something for like, when I'm tired, I just worked a 12-hour day. I'm laying in bed with my 3 cats and I'm like, I want to stay relevant. I post 2 times a day, maybe even 3 times, and I am tired. I don't want to edit a video. I just go to Reels. I go to Reels. I'll scroll until I see a template and I like the way she edited or whoever edited that video to that sound. I click it, I upload my own stuff, and here we go. That's what I did today because I forgot to post yesterday. And I was like, oh my God, I need to post today. I had the busiest day this afternoon. And I found a template that I really liked on Reels and I posted it. And it's awesome. So I also have that for you guys to go back to after this. So you can check out a template that's live and you don't have to search for one. I also have a ton of templates on my page too. So if you just go to my Reels and you scroll, you'll see all the templates. Also, I know that Instagram can be like super intimidating. No one knows if you use their template. So don't be like, oh no, I don't want this person to know that I'm knocking off their template. They're not going to know. Just do it. Okay.
I love it. And you have a lot of comments, people that did like already use it, and then others that are excited to use these templates. Awesome. I already am a stalker of your page, but I'm going to stalk your Reels even more now for all these templates. I like to work smarter and not harder.
Yes. And that's so true. Smarter, not harder, right? Like we don't need to like kill ourselves. And that's why hairdressers are so used to doing and like kind of going off topic, but working smarter, not harder. There's something about this new generation that they have on us because we can say all day that they don't have any work ethic, except for the fact that they just figured it out. They work from 10 to 6. They bring in over $1,000 a day, if not more, from 10 to 6. They don't give a shit. They'll bring their client right up to the front of the desk and go 400 and just walk away. They have no shame in their game. Us veterans, we go up to the front and we're like, this is what we did. And yeah, give her $10 off. Okay, bye. And we like run to the back, right? Because we're so nervous to disappoint. So working smarter, not harder. There is something to learn from the new generation, as much as it can be hard to hear. I see it all the time, and I can be quick to throw them under the bus, but at the same time, I'm like, damn, they really have something going. They go home to eat at 6 o'clock, and they also have time to work out and eat breakfast in the morning. Do they have it figured out? And they still make a ton of money. So learn from our young, but they also need to learn from us too, because they don't know how to do hair
That's
until
right.
they learn from us.
It goes both ways for sure. I love that you acknowledge that.
It does. It really does. You know, if anyone's having a hard time making captions, I got your back. Okay. So it's a little hard for me to read that. So I'm going to pull up my laptop here, and I'm going to pull that up. Okay. So there's two examples here. And the reason why I want to talk about captions is that I think that stops people from posting, is that they get the photo, they edit it, and it looks bomb.com, but then they're about to post it and they're like, their mind goes blank, and they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to go to bed and move on from this. And they have a great post like pending, but you know, that kind of thing. So really quick, on the left-hand side, it says step by step brunette balayage edition using my favorite L'Oreal Blonde Studio 9. Step by step is going to gain anyone. They want to know how I did it step by step. Okay, so that's going to grab brand attention, client attention, and stylist. Brunette balayage edition is really towards your clientele. Brunette balayage edition. They want to know if that's a brunette, they're going to stop and look. All right. And then using my favorite Blonde Studio 9 with L'Oreal, that's extra credit, you guys. That's giving a brand free like advertisement in the top line. And that's also letting people know what you use. So someone that's maybe interested in using L'Oreal, which I hope you all are either using it or want to after this day, that you know what I did, and they're going to stop. With the one on the right says Fishtail Friday. There's nothing that is going to stop to make you engage with Fishtail Friday. All right. The reason why I did it is that she had a really sexy shirt on, and I was like, oh, people are going to love this on social media. I got no love and no engagement. So this is super important, is being able to get engagement. So I call it the 2-part caption. Here I go again with my peace sign. It seems like it's a thing for me. So a 2-part caption. One part's going to grab the client, and the other part's going to grab the brand / stylist. So these are my 2 examples. Fishtail Friday is grabbing no one. Where the first part, the first one, it's saying step by step. That's going to grab the brand and the stylist, right? And then the next one's going to be the brunette balayage edition. That's going to grab the client. And then the brand is super happy that I put them in my top line. One thing too is that stop comparing hair to food. No one wants hair in their food ever. I do not want a piece of that balayage hair in my coffee in the morning ever. So don't say good morning, because some people aren't going to see it until the afternoon or maybe even midnight. So that's not going to grab branded, or that's not going to grab any engagement. Also, no one wants hair in their food and their drinks or anything. So step away. Another hot tip, think about what that client asked you for. When she sat in your chair, she said to you, I want to be more lifted. I want this to be soft. I do want a like a strong money piece around my face. Don't cut too much off the ends. Think about what your client is saying. If your client is saying those things, that is your caption on how to gain the next client. If you like that person that's you're posting and you want her back in your chair, use what she asked for in the caption. That's going to gain more people just like her. All right.
I love that. I mean, that's like simple. If you did what they asked for, just tell the people watching.
Exactly. And I want what I post, you know, like don't post a men's cut if you don't want men's cuts. I don't care how bomb that photo is. It doesn't matter. If you don't want men's cuts, don't post it. I sure shit don't want a men's cut. I don't make enough money off of them. I want my balayages. So that's really what I'm going to post all the time. As far as great coverage goes, I don't post great coverage that often because I don't really want many more of those people, but brands love it. Think about one of the most expensive things you buy from a brand. It's a tube of permanent hair dye. Okay. So doing that for brand attention is going to give you that like piece of it. Okay. So great coverage is great if you're looking for brands and if you're looking for more great coverage clients. But I know my great coverage clients are like, why are you taking the before photo of the grays? I want no one to see it. And I tell them to calm down. Their face isn't going to be in it. Don't worry. All right. So let's go over some hot tips. on Instagram here. So a few of my hot tips that I stand by is that when you're going to comment on your friend's post, you want it to be 4 words that's engaging. Emojis don't count. So instead of I love this, I really love this, make it count. Also, if there's a hater on your page, don't delete them. Let the hater stay. Haters gain more haters. Someone else is going to comment back to that hater, either sticking up for you or agreeing with it. And I'm going to tell you, your post is going to go viral. Let the haters hate. And sometimes the hater gives you the best ideas too. All right. Post photos in the morning and post videos at night. I want you to think, when do you have more time scrolling? Is it in the morning? Because I know my mornings are pretty crazy. Videos at night are way more, videos at night, I have more time watching it. Also, don't overthink posting. No one cares what you posted last. I don't care if you posted 5 brunettes and then a blonde. No one cares. No one cares if you posted all of the back of the head and then you post a side. All I want you to do is keep posting to stay consistent. Also, keep in mind, no one cares about your aesthetic. You're not a coffee shop. No one cares. And then show yourself. People want to know who's behind that camera. So we all have a client that's a photographer, that does photography. Ask them if they can come into their next photo and get a photo with you with your apron on and just smile in your chair. Or better yet, every once in a while, not all the time, post a family shot of you and your kids. Because I know for me, I want ages 25 to 40. I'm 32. I'm 32. And that's the age bracket that I want. Is usually people that have like kids and stuff. So if you have kids and you want people that have kids, you want those other moms, post that. That's exciting. And that's going to also stay relatable, but don't post too much because people want to just see hair too. All right.
Yeah, I always say that tiny little picture at the top, sometimes people want to know who you are, and that tiny little
Yes.
picture does you no justice.
No. And that's why I post a lot of my personal life in my story, but I keep it more hair on my page. I also try to post more videos of when I'm teaching with me in it so you can see me. And then I post a couple personal photos here and there. Okay. Let's go over some like this thing that I have. It's called a one client screen here. And because what I always get from people is, oh, I don't have that type of time. I don't know how you do it. I'm just so busy. I'm going to tell you something. I work 40 hours a week. I take 12 clients a day. I spend 30 hours on social media. And when you want it, you'll do it and you'll work for it. And keep in mind, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable is only going to make you grow. Don't make that stop you from growing. Get uncomfortable. So one of the things about this slide, I want everyone to take a photo of, because like I said, so many people are so quick to discount and say, no, I can't do it because it's too difficult. All right. Let's say this one particular client, and this is my ideal client. She gets a money piece. She gets a foiler, a balayage, shit. Maybe even she gets her ends tipped out, right? So she gets both. She gets a hairline detail, a toner, a cut, a blow dry. She gets curls, a finishing, maybe a flat iron, who knows? Products for use, etc. Okay, that is a lot of content you can get off of your one girl. If you feel like you're too stressed, start with a cousin, have her come in on your day off, and just hit record and have at it. Okay, so if she gets a money piece, you film that money piece. If she gets a foil, just focus on the foil. Don't even show what you did on the money piece. Then, if you're tipped out her ends, tip out a video. You don't have to explain everything that you did in one video. So now we got a tip out video. Hairline details, a toner. Explaining a toner to a client is like literally you're talking to a wall. They do not understand it. Toner, instantly they think darker. Okay, it's not going to make anyone lighter, of course, but they don't understand it. So showing a raw lift versus a tone lift is super cool. Also, showing wet hair versus blow dried is also really cool as well because it looks so much darker. I want everyone to take a screenshot of this because this is 64 pieces of content on this screen right here. It took me a long time to make it. Matthew, that's behind the scenes, he reformulated it for me so it looks much nicer than my crazy one that I did. But if you took 9 before photos and then 9 after photos, you're going to have 18 before and afters. You're going to have 9 just after shots. Then you're going to have 18 carousels that you can just swipe from before and afters of the same girl, but you've got all the angles. Okay. That is a lot of damn posts that I just told you about that are only photos. Right. Then you got video. You know, you can do a quick thing. Like I have a video coming that's going to be about using a wet brush with your tip out. That's going to be such a simple, hot tip that's satisfying that people are going to love. But you guys are first to see it and hear about it, or not see it, but hear about it. So take a picture of this because it's really, really, really important. Oh, somebody said this is a great class. That's awesome. Thank you. So yeah, this is going to gain clients and brand attention. And you know what? Let's go into bios. Talking about brand attention and clients, we need to go into bios. This is my friend Summer. I use her bio all the time because I think it's pretty much spot on. There's one thing that she's missing though, but we're going to get to it. What is your Instagram handle? Your handle is your name on Instagram. Your name should be is your name in your handle or in your bio, or is it in both? Take a picture of this because these questions you should be able to answer. Do you have your location listed? What is your specialty? Are you accepting new clients? And if you are, what would you like them to do? What's their call of action? Do you want them to DM you? Do you want them to online book, call? Are you working with brands? And I want to say something about that. You're only going to put brands in your bio unless you're working with them. Don't put yourself in a box. Okay. There was a point that I have a different brand in my handle, in my bio, because that's just what my salon used. I'm so happy I removed that years ago because I don't think I would have been here today if I put myself in that box. All right. So right away in that bold area where it says Summer San Diego Blondes, that is searchable. It is very important for you to have your first name in that searchable line. The reason being is that, let's say Carrie Lane's like, oh, you're in Massachusetts, you got to go see my girl Adina. My handle is my name, but if my name isn't in that top searchable line, I'm not going to pop up first. Okay. So make sure your first name is in that searchable line where hers says Summer. Then she puts where she's located. It says San Diego. And then she really wants blondes. It's crazy because this girl's really good at redheads too. But she only wants blondes. All right. Right underneath, she has her full name, which is fabulous and what you should all do. Then under that, she puts where she's truly located and where the salon is. So people know where they can find her. All right. Specializing in blondes and balayage. So that's what she wants in her chair. She does not want anything else. She's going to specialize in this. Then she works for Olivia Garden. She has an ambassador for them. So that's some bragging rights right there. You need to put your bragging rights there, but it's not putting it in her box because she does either get paid or she gets free stuff from Olivia. And then she puts the call to book. She's not direct if she's accepting new clients. If you're accepting new clients, how your bio should look is the top line should say your name, and right underneath that, it should say accepting new clients. And underneath that, you want to know what their call of action is. Do you want them to call? Do you want them to DM you? Do you have online booking? What is it? How is that client going to get a hold of you? So that's how you're going to get those clients to come at you. All right. Then where you're located, it's very important to put that. If you're located in Canada, there's a lot of things or other countries that can't be shipped across the country or across the world for whatever regulation. So let's say a brand really wants to send you something and then you don't have your location. They may not take the extra mile to DM you to ask you where you are just to disappoint you that they can't send it. Okay. Make it easy for the brand and the client to get a hold of you. And that's how you'll do it. So we have some bios that we're going to go over. So let's go over some of these bios. All right.
And just real quick, I want to tell you that is great info. I hope you guys are all loving it. We do have some questions in the chat. Not chat, in the Q&A. We will get to them just so you guys know.
I know we're on a crunch time right now, and I hear that my model's getting blow dried. So I think we're doing good on timing. So we're going to keep going and hopefully we'll get to these questions and answers. I'm okay if we can hang out an extra few minutes, but I don't know if it's like timed out or something of that nature. So we got Heather up in here. Heather does have her full name, but Heather, the one thing I would change is I would just put Heather. And then I would put, instead of Heather, I think it's Monroe Studio, I would just put Heather, hard line, where you're located, hard line, and what you have, like what you want in your chair. So underneath that, you're going to put your full name. You're going to put Heather Monroe. I hope I'm saying that correct. I'm so sorry. I understand your pain. If I'm not, I'm Adina, Apollonia, Pignatare. No one can ever get that one right. So New Hampshire balayage, dimensional color, blonde, and then you have where you're located. Okay. So like the street address and stuff. I can't tell if the street address is blue where you can tap it. But if it is, that's really great because that's super easy. No one's going to type in the whole entire address into their they're maps, if you will. So if that's not a blue where you can click it, I would say delete that in total. And I would just have Heather, where you're accepting new clients, the call of action, DM, online book, whatever it may be. And then underneath that, you're going to have New Hampshire, and it looks like you may have a studio. I don't know if your studio has its own page or if this is the studio's page. Just put at Heather Moreau Studio. I think that would be really great. Your work looks awesome. It looks like you have a ton of before and afters on your page, which I'm super excited to see. I wish I could see it a little bit up closer, but I feel like I'm blind. But I'm not, obviously I can do hair. So there's that. But I love your before and afters. And one thing I want you to do is think about recycling. I don't want you to not post because you feel like you don't have anything new. With your before and afters, do the after and then say swipe to see the before, so it's a carousel post. Also, another thing, you guys, with those Reels templates, you don't have to upload a video until Reels templates. You could just upload photos and it makes a slideshow, then that makes a video. Oh, I hope that just gave you some like light bulbs popping off. Because, I know in the beginning, videos can be very intimidating. So taking some of these before and afters and just throwing the before and afters in a template, and in the caption putting like, some of my favorite before and afters, DM me to book, done. That's your freaking post, man. And it's awesome. And it took photos into a slideshow, and it really made you stand out and have a video on your page. Great work, Heather. I'm so happy you put your handle up here. I know it's not easy to be like, dissected a little bit in front of people. So thanks for coming on. Let's move on to the next bio. All right. So color comes first. Okay. Super cool handle. Love it. And is that your name? Oh, so sweet. Heather just commented. So is that your name up in that top area there is what I would want to know. Baja first, maybe, is that what that is? Is first your last name? Because that's pretty cool how you incorporate it into your handle. So right away, again, like I told you, I would not have your full name in the searchable area. There's only so many characters in that searchable area. So let's make it count. Have the first name, do a hard line or maybe a period, whatever you want to do, and type in, what do you want to gain back? Where are you located? Right here, I can't even tell where you're located. So that's super important to add. I can tell that you're a licensed cosmetologist. You're a junior colorist at Scott & Co, Hair by Scott & Co. But I don't know where Scott & Co exactly is. So that's definitely one of the things that you're missing is I want to know where Scott & Co is. Are you in Denver? I don't know. So we want to do that. So in the top line, your first name, what you specialize in, and where you're located. Okay. Underneath, are you accepting new clients? We need to know. Then we want to know how you want them to get a hold of you. You don't need to put licensed cosmetologists because I really hope you would be if you're posting hair. So you don't need to point out the obvious. All right. We want to get down to the point. You are a color specialist and you love balayage. That's great. I like that. And then I just want to know where Scott & Co is located, and it says called to book. So I'm guessing you do take new clients, but it needs to be really up in their face, accepting new clients right under your name and how to get a hold of you. Your work looks awesome. Holy cow, it looks amazing. There's a few things that I would change. The bottom row on the left, it looks like that was a before photo. And I could be wrong, but it just, your other work above doesn't look like that. So that's why I'm wondering was it a carousel? And or is that no, it's a Reels. I can see that now. You need to change the cover of that. So that way it's to an area that's super exciting, whether it be the way you have the color on, like applying the color could be super interesting, or the after shot. I don't tend to have the before as a cover ever because I do want like either application or pretty photo to be my cover. Okay, so that's just like a quick hot tip there because I bet you that's bomb ass Reels. But all your photos are great. I especially love that second line in the middle, how you're outside and you have the window reflecting the green trees. I love that. And that's one of the photos that's jumping off of your page. And also the hair looks the shiniest on your page with that photo. You're in the indirect lighting in front of a window. You're getting the reflection of the beautiful background that you have. Sometimes when you're in a lighting that with just a white wall, the white wall actually like drown out your photos and you won't have that shine that your photo truly has. So definitely take note of that second row middle photo. I think that should be your favorite spot. And I love that you have Reels on here because I know it takes some time and effort to post those. So kudos to you. Awesome. I hope that helped. And let's move on to the next one. All right. So Sheer Sissy. That's a cool handle. Loving it. Michael, is this the guy that was asking all the questions? If it is, that's great. Thank you for being so awesome. You're a cosmetology student. Okay, so you're a cosmetology student. That's great. Also, you're an associate guest service at a salon. I see. Sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing this screen because it's small. It's on my phone. And book with me below. Okay, so great. So right underneath there, cosmetology student. I say don't even put that. Just put accepting new clients and where they can come to. No one needs to know that you're a student. I think that it might give people doubt knowing that you're still in this learning program because people just immediately think that. But no one really recognizes that we're all still learning no matter how long you've been doing hair. So we're all still students. Okay.
Yeah, I used to always get asked, how long have you been doing hair? And instead of like, oh, I've only been here for 3 months, I'd say, I feel like I've been doing hair forever
Right.
because it gives them nondescript and they can't say, well, you charge that much for new,
Right.
things like that.
Also something with the newbies, they're fearless. And I applaud you guys. Like you guys will just dive in deep and I'm a little bit more cautious. Maybe things have happened in my career that are like, oh shit, never doing that again. So I applaud you newbies. I admire you and I admire your ambition. So right away, Michael, I need to know, what do you want to do in your career? This is something that you're a new person, you have control. Okay. So if you should do everything because you don't know what you love until you've tried it all. Okay. Also, keep this in mind too. Anything that you feel comfortable with, you feel is your niche. I'm telling you now, I didn't feel comfortable with balayage at all in the beginning. And here I am traveling across the country teaching it. Okay. So like a couple of the new people that I have at my salon, they're like, I love perms. I'm like, you only love perms because it's the only thing you know how to do and feel confident in. Okay. So do everything, find what you love the most. But in the future, and right now, Michael, if there's a few things that you want to hone in on and you really just like, maybe you love cutting, then you need to have Michael Hardline haircuts in whatever town, whatever. So remove cosmetology student, put accepting new clients, call DM, whatever the call of action, and at what salon. And then have what your specialties are. Okay. If you've assisted anyone and you feel like you want to throw that in there, you could do that too into your bio. But I give you credit. You are new, you're a cosmetology student and you're posting photos. That is amazing. I am so proud of you. So many of the newbies are just so afraid to post a mannequin or something that they've done new because they don't want to feel vulnerable. And I am so proud of you that you are doing this. This is awesome. And I love that you have some mannequins on here and you're proud of your work. So keep doing it, keep posting. And again, do what I was saying to you, to the other girl, is take some of your photos and put them in a reels and make them a slideshow. This, you have some videos on your page, but I do see you have a few carousels, which is great. So I'm wondering if those carousels are before and afters. And if they are, you can recycle them and put them side by side. Okay, let's move on. Thanks, Michael. Okay. Hey girl, Barbara. Yes, she's taken a couple of my classes before. She's great. She's local. She's right around where I am. So Sheer Extreme Salon, that is where she works. Her name is Barbara. Sheer Extreme, Barbara, I would remove out of your searchable line because we already have that in your handle. So I'd have Barbara. Oh, I just got scared. My model is here.
She's so straight. Do you want to see her straight?
No, I want you to curl her. Thank you. Sorry. That scared the living shit out of me. I was so like into the. Okay, so I had her shut the door because I have 3 cats and I know they'd come in here and like destroy the place where we were trying to do the class here. Okay, so Barbara, hard line. Put what you want in your chair. Another hard line where you're located. MA. Wherever you want to put East Hampton. I don't know exactly where you are in Massachusetts, but you can put something like that. Okay. You are a beauty expert, but what are you expert in? And you're a master colorist and you're a hair loss practitioner. Is that what it says there? I can't see.
It says practitioner, hair loss practitioner, and assistant trichologist.
Fabulous. I don't know exactly what those 2 last things are. So I think that would be nice if you elaborated more. That'd be great. I also think that what kind of color expert are you? And if you're an expert in all of it, what is your favorite? So that way you know what you want to gain back. Like I know for me is I don't want vivid. So I'm never going to post one. I have one girl and that's it. And I only do her hair because I've known her since 2nd grade. So understanding like what kind of master colorist are you and what do you want in your chair? I also, are you accepting new clients? How should they contact you? And I see here, yes, East Hampton, you do have it in the area that people could click it. That's great. So I'm super happy to see that. Barbara, I know your work is fantastic. I followed you for a few years now. She has supported me since my first class ever. Barbara came to my first class. So I love Barbara. Yes, I love that you have reels. I love your work. I love that you have a little kid in there. The only concern I have is that, do you want more kids cuts? Because if you don't, remove that post. I know for me, I don't want any children. They don't pay enough. So, and for my friends out there, I will only do their child's first haircut and that's it. So yeah, Barbara, you know what you're doing. I do wig for kids. Okay, that's fabulous. That's awesome. We need you. That's great. So good. All right, Barbara, we just need to know if you're accepting new clients and what they, how you want them to call you. Let's move on to the next one. All right, hair by Brooke Goodman. Hey, girl. So she's color balayage and short haircuts. I love that you're across the map. You love short haircuts, and then you have your balayage and color. That's great. So Brooke, I need your first name in that searchable line though, okay? I also need you to make sure that you have spaces between those slants that you have, because this is your searchable area and this is the most important part of your bio. So if you have a balayage with a line, I'm not exactly sure, but it might not pop up in search because it's not balayage with a space. Just a thought. Okay, you're a salon owner and you have the salon right there. That's great. That is bragging rights right there. Anyone that's a salon owner on here, I give it to you because I don't think I could do it. I'd fire everyone. No, I'm just kidding. But like really though, it's too much work. I don't know how you guys do it. I applaud you. I've been at the same place for 14 years as I love my boss. That's why I'm there. So she's a wifey and a mama. Okay, so that fancy lines that or fancy font, you need to delete that and have normal font. None of that is like actually like searchable. So I would just delete that, have normal font. Wife and mama, it's totally up to you to have there. I just don't know how that's going to gain more clientele or brand attention for you. So if I were you, as I would potentially remove it, and then I would have accepting new clients underneath, or maybe you're not accepting new clients and put that right there so you don't get bothered by it. Personally, I've never put that because I don't want to put myself in a box of not getting the right client. I also love referring people that have messaged me to the girls that I have trained to help them be successful. So I have never put not accepting new clients. Also, if you are accepting, how they're going to contact you, where you're located. I need to know what town you're in, what city you're in, or what state. Yeah, and what you specialize in. You already have that in your searchable line, so that's fabulous. I see on your page you have beautiful blondes. That's absolutely gorgeous. I love that you have some family shots in there too, and that's where I think that you don't need wife and mama written out. I think that if we want to know, we can see it. And it looks like you have a beautiful fam. So I would say remove wife and mommy as your in the word in your bio, and we could see it on your page. I love that you have a minimal amount of your personal life and more hair. I think that's good. So I always say rule of thumb is one personal photo in the 9 photos, if that makes sense. So your top 9. So always just have one. So for every 8 photos or 8 videos, post a personal. Okay.
I'm going to write that down right now because that's
Good.
perfect. I love that.
So everything looks great. Your work is impeccable. I love, especially one that's jumping off of the page at me is your second row, that rooted blonde. I'm obsessed. And one thing I think you could do there to make it educational is draw some white lines and dotted lines and like post your, like the way you applied those foils or that balayage. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's jumping off the page at me. I love the up close and personal shot at the bottom. The first one on the left, the bottom row, I love that too. You can really see the ribbons of that blonde. I'm obsessed. You do some really good work. Brooke, this is great. Awesome shots. Keep it up. All right, let's move to the next one. I don't know, is this 5?
I think that is, but we have some questions we could answer that pertain to this. So
Great.
Crystal asks, TikToks or Reels?
TikTok versus Reels?
Yeah.
Okay. I think TikTok is the next big thing. I think that people really need to take TikTok seriously. I'm trying. TikTok's a little bit more challenging for me because I feel like I get lost on there and all of a sudden an hour of my time is gone and I don't have enough of time to give TikTok my personal time. I get on there, I start watching, I can't get off. But no, I think brands are really taking TikTok seriously. And I think everyone needs to, if you're going to post a reels, you need to post it on your TikTok as well. I think Instagram is more genuine when it comes to followers and it comes to hard work, because TikTok, you can post a video and the next day have 200,000 followers, which is insane, but it's just the way their algorithm works, where someone like myself, that never happened. Oh, I think our model is back. Do you want to answer one more question and we can show the model?
Yeah, well, we have a question about social media, and we also want to talk about Dialight because we did.
Yes.
Dialight. But Leah says, how often do you designate time for social media? Like, I guess, how much time in a day?
So editing wise, like at home, anywhere between 20 and 30 hours a week. At my normal job, I'm recording about 50% of the day. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, there comes a point in your career, like if you really want it, you can do it. And I can also, if I didn't want to, I don't need to work behind the chair anymore if I didn't want to, which is a great thing to be able to say. But I love my people and I need people to make content with, so I'm not going to do that. They're also my insurance. So if something happens, I know I have my peeps. But no, social media is super important, and post. I got my first paid campaign when I had 2,500 followers, and that Pureology event happened when I had 700 followers. So you don't need to be in the 100K to do that. But I'm going to let you go in for Dialight so that way we can get onto our model after.
Yes. So Dialight, a lot of people ask, this is what we use for our finishing glossing. It is a ammonia-free demi-permanent color. The mixing ratio is 1 to 1.5. And the key point I want you guys all to see here is the timing. You can use Dialight anywhere from 2 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to say that again, 2 to 20. As a brand, we tell you that even if you want to take it off in 7 minutes, Dialight is going to look and produce the results that you want for the right amount of time. Not if I take it off in 7 minutes, I only get 7 shampoos out of it, right? So Dialight is amazing because it's an acidic demi-permanent color. You get crazy shine. And because of that, we also get 30% more conditioning. It is a gel cream, and one of my favorite colors right now is the 10.01. Sometimes I add clear to it, sometimes I don't, but I'm obsessed with the results of 10.01 at this time. And I think Matthew just put in there, if you guys use Dialight, let us know what your favorite Dialight color is to gloss after doing a highlight. And our milkshake shades, if you ever see those out there and see that name in Dialight, that timing is anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes. So even faster. So I love speed in the salon when using Dialight. You use the Dia Activator developers with Dialight, 6 and 9 volume, anywhere from 2 to 20 minutes and 1 to 1.5 mixing ratio. Are we ready, Miss Adina? Is your model ready? Okay, good, because Brooke says she likes 10.12 and 10.01 and 9.12. Those are her favorites. Love that.
Here she is. Super dimensional. You can see those ribbons. You can see on the side here. I went downstairs so I have better lighting for you guys. You can see her ribbons right here are just super nice, very soft. Then we got her back side. And remember, I'm going to take some good photos for you guys. So sometimes these videos aren't as like great, but you can see here how nice that looks, the ribbon effects, and you can see all that depth that lives in between. But this is where I was talking about, like the strand balayage. It has ribbons, but it's really soft, okay? Also, I'm gonna show you what's cooking under here. You can see all those nice, beautiful blonde ribbons of balayage there. So when she pulls her hair up, it's gonna look really nice.
Everybody loves how it's looking. And do you know what gloss your assistant used on her for DLI today?
Yes, I have the boxes. Where'd they go? Over here. All right, so I used 1002 and 1013.
Oh, those are beautiful. The 10.13 and the 10.23 is also my favorites.
Sorry, it's not like coming up on the screen, but yes. Those are what we use. We use with 9 volume.
Very good. I love
you can
it.
See how natural she is right around her hairline too. That was super important for me. I did not want her to not feel like her when as this grows out. Also, she's not going to have to see me, honestly, maybe a year, unless she's like obsessed with being lighter. But I say like a year. I'm going to have you look down for me and at the screen. So you can see how soft that truly is. Like, I wish you can see more of the balayage there.
Oh, I think you can see it very good. I see the shadow. I see that it's not a hard line at the root. I mean, this is just gorgeous, Adina. Like, couldn't ask for more in a demo
Thank you,
today.
guys. It really looks gorgeous. And we did it in a good amount of time too, you know, like that's one thing. Like if I'm not teaching, I can whip that balayage on you guys in literally 30 minutes. And then if they don't get a haircut, they just are with my assistant for the rest of the time. And then I'll just stop whatever I'm doing to go take 15 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes and take photos. The more you take photos with your clients, the more your clients are prepared and ready. You'll notice that they come in with a better t-shirt on, they come in with their makeup on now, and then they're like outside and like already doing their moves for you. So
I love that.
Get it done fast as you go. How are we for time?
So we are over about 16 minutes, but we do have 3 questions. Brooke says, how come you use the 9 volume in your glass?
It's a great question. When I had education, they were like, oh, 9 volume is really great for blonde. So I've just stuck with it. I feel like the 6 volume is going to deposit a little bit more of like the tonal properties where the 9 volume doesn't as much. It keeps it a little bit brighter for me. So that's why I choose 9 a lot when I'm using my blondes. But Carrie Lane, you probably know more. Like, why did I use 9?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a little trick is blondes with 9 volume. Again, it's 6 volume just gives you not as much strength. I'm just a go-to with the 9 volume with my DLite as well, unless I need like a lot of time, and I go with the 6 because it's low and slow.
Also, I just wanted to point these out. Remember when I was talking about that client that comes in that pulls that hair forward and goes, oh my God, I'm black here. This is where those ribbons are sitting. How nice is that? It's just so soft and beautiful. And it's coming right from her back here there. Let's say if she came back in like 6 months, it would probably be grown down about here. I wouldn't even redo it unless she cared about what her ponytail looked like when she pulled her hair up.
And then our last 2 questions, Erin asked, because you did comment about not brushing up while balayaging, they asked, do you brush up when foiling to blend?
Yes, sometimes, but you always have to keep in mind your saturation. If you loosen that saturation, you spread it out too thin, you're going to get that blonde orange line. Okay.
And then from Samsung Galaxy, what is the biggest, save the biggest question for last. What is the biggest challenge a new stylist may have starting off?
Everything. I mean, everything is new, and anything that's new is uncomfortable. Just always keep that in the back of your head. Like I've said before, uncomfortable is going to make you grow. And you are here to learn. You're new. So soak it all in. You could be with a mentor and you're like, I'm never going to do what she just did there. But like you learned from it. It doesn't mean that it's going to be your way. I feel like just push through. People are going to doubt you. People are going to support you. Focus on the ones that support you and you're going to get to the next level.
Thank you so much. You got a lot of stunning and love in the chat. And then Heather says, you're just so damn talented. I have gotten so much from this. Thank you for keeping it real and all your tips. Oops, wait, hold on. Scrolling. Sorry. The breakdown was incredible, and so are you. Thank you, Adina. She's a huge fan.
Oh.
And for those that asked for Adina's Instagram, it's at the bottom here, and Matthew just posted it in the chat. Follow her, and at L'Oreal Pro _education. You asked for more content like this. We love that you guys were all here and the questions were great, the participation, we really appreciate that.
Thanks, guys. I had a really good time today. I hope we do it again.
Yeah, I would love it for sure.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.